We're going to find the center, vertices, and foci of the ellipse that's given here. And the first thing I'm going to do is find the center. If I look to see what is in with the x, I basically have x minus 1. If I set that equal to 0, I get x equal 1. That's the x value of the center. It's the opposite of the sign that's inside there. So if I looked at what's in the parentheses for the y and put it equal to 0, that would tell me when I solve for y the y value of the center, and that's at -2. So I'm going to put that center on the graph. I'm going to go over 1 in the x and down 2 in the y, and I'm going to put an x. That is the center of my ellipse. Now from that center, I'm going to see what's in the denominator that's with the x, and that is my a squared, and that is 4. So a is going to be the square root of that, which is 2. So from the center in the x direction, since this was under the x, I'm going to move 2 to the right, so positive x, and then go in the negative x direction, 1, 2, and those will give me 2 points on the ellipse. Now I look to see what's under the y, and that is b squared. B squared is 25. So b is the square root of that, which is 5. So from the center in the y direction, both positively and negatively, I need to go 5. So I'm going to go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then from the center, I'm going to go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now you can see I have the major axis will be the longer one. So in this case, that's a vertical major axis, and the minor axis is the shorter one, and those define an ellipse. So I could draw this ellipse. Now I'm ready to answer the vertices. The vertices are always the endpoints of the major axis, the longest one. So that's one vertex, and we can figure out where that is. That is at the point 1, 3. And so from the center, we didn't change in the x direction, but we went up 5. So if I had added 5 to this value, I would have that first vertex, and I just found it by looking at the graph, but you could also have added 5 to the y value there. Now let's go ahead and find the other vertex, and it's down here, and we can see that the x doesn't change. That's at 1, but from the center we were at -2, and we went down 5, so we are now going to be at 1, -7. So there's our vertices. Now to figure out the foci, we know that c squared will equal the larger of the denominators, so b squared minus a squared. So c is going to be the square root of 25 minus 4, which is 21. The foci are located along the major axis, so in this case I'm going to need to go up from the center and down from the center by c to put on the foci. And c is square root of 21, which is 4 point something. So I'm going to go up 1, 2, 3, 4 point something, and I will put this point on there. I didn't change the x from the center, so that's still 1. But I went from the center value of -2, and I went up square root of 21. There is my first focus. To find the second focus, I go from the center and I go down by the square root of 21. So it's still the same x value, starting at the y value of the center and taking away square root of 21. So those are my two foci. They are always located along the major axis, -2 minus square root of 21.